I was under the impression before that war was a good thing for crypto. And obviously, I don't condone the violence. It's crazy what's going on in the world.
I think what the problem is, people expected rate cuts earlier, but when man like Trump introduced tariffs, that's not good for the market.
Are you trying to say that we've peaked?
No, I think we've reached the local top.
I remember hearing a quote once saying that the markets do not like uncertainty.
The content presented in this podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. It should not be considered as financial advice, and listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research or consult with a qualified professional before making any investment decisions.
Crypto flip.
Ran about $100,000 up to $13 million after taxes over 8 years. Survived BlockFi. Survived FTX withdrawing 9K daily for months pre-implosion. Nearly blew up half my stack playing with fire with UST in Anchor during a risk-off phase. Had physical keys stolen only to be recovered later. Moved most of my stack over to Coinbase so family could access it if I get hit by a bus, and got socially engineered like a total effing noob. The scammers even had detailed access to all my customer service tickets to legitimize themselves. Oh, my dude.
No.
That's crazy. What do you man think?
Yo. You know what, bruv? These social engineering attacks here. Bro, when I say they are professional, bruv, they are professional. Like, these men are treating it like a proper consultancy, bro. Like, there's like KPMG, Deloitte level scammers out there now, bruv. They're doing like a deep dive into your life. They're finding all the shit that they can find of you on the dark web. And then they're coming to you with some hardcore facts. But how on earth did they get support tickets unless they had access to his email? Bro, this is a mad tick. Bro.
You know what they probably did? They probably, because obviously a lot of the support teams are somewhere in the Philippines or wherever, where they're getting like $5 an hour, which is calm for Coinbase, like in one sense, but in the other sense, if somebody shows up and says, look, I'll pay you a couple grands, show me some support tickets.
Still.
You know, they might think harmless.
Yeah. This dog might have been part of the whole Coinbase hack. You know, where they got
that's what literally where my man went.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, bro. That is that, because he moved most of his stack over to Coinbase, so family could access it, and then they found all those email off, and then they social.
And he dodged how many bullets?
Bro, that's what's crazy about this confession, because you literally got so many fire, brimstones rain down on you. You survived BlockFi, you survived FTX, survived the bear season, only to be social engineered like a fucking total nut, fam. Like, I mean, I feel sorry for it. Like, I actually do, because, like you said, like what Ricardo said, these social engineering now is like it's a legitimate business. Like, it's a legitimate business. These people are professionals. Like, they're thinking of ways like, cool, you're going to say this, so I need to have this as a backup. And if he says this, literally there's a true decision there, but depending on what you're going to say. So, I mean, my goodness, like, I feel bad for him, because you did a good thing trying to help your family. At the same time, by moving all your eggs into one basket, you introduce a single vulnerable point of attack on your body.
You know what it is, but you know what? When you really deep, there's only one way that you can give, like my wife is not crypto savvy. There's only one way I could give her access to my portfolio, you know, if I had crypto, but I don't. And it would be like putting it on something like Coinbase and giving her my login, or giving her the keys to my paper, like to a paper wallet, right, or like to a ledger or whatever. The problem is, bruv, I have less faith in her keeping something like my keys secure than I do like my password to Coinbase, which requires 2FA, and you know, she can prove that she's my spouse and all that rubbish. So I just think, like, how do you pass this on And obviously there's the last option, which is like lawyers, so solicitors. You can pass your information over to lawyers. People in their will, when they're writing about like how much crypto they have, they will leave like private keys to lawyers, and yeah, that's safe on that. But bro, if a lawyer gets hacked, though, game over.
So what if he's a crooked lawyer and then he runs away with your crypto? Like, there's just so many.
Then the things that happened in the world, bro.
Exactly. So the best thing to do, honestly, is if you really want to set a family up, just withdraw $1 million cash and put it in an account for them. Like,
But bro, how? Nah, you can't even say that, bro. You can't even say that. Let's say you want to put one.
Look, cool. Just only you only withdraw. Okay, withdraw a smaller amount.
No. But think about it this way, bro. Like, let's say you earmark is like 1 BTC for Remy. You're gonna drop it on him when he's 18, bro. 1 BTC now is 104 bags. When he's 18, bro. Yeah, in what 16 years, bro. That is going to be millions. You telling me you're just gonna take out the 100 bags now and just give it to him? Come on, bro. Like, it needs to be in crypto form.
No, I hear your point, yeah, but this guy's obviously he's concerned about the future, and then all the way to, cause like I said though, you didn't trust your wife to look after private keys. I don't trust my wife to do the same thing. Like, I just don't. Like, you know what I mean? I'm the best person that can keep if I have in the crypto, the best to keep my crypto safe is me. You know what I mean? I know that. Don't move all my stuff to Coinbase. Leave some stuff for just in case there's an attack. Leave some extra backup stuff in with a backup private wallet. So it's like, if you can't trust Coinbase, which I've been saying this for years now. Coinbase can't be trusted. Lo and behold, they got hacked socially. Cool. So what are you gonna do? You can't pass on crypto physically, like, to mitigate all this unnecessary risk. Maybe leave a small pot of cash, even if it's 50K, 100K, fam. You know what I mean? Something light.
You know what I just remembered though? When this news broke, we spoke about it on the pod, and they said Brian Armstrong came on with his bald head on X, yeah? He said he's gonna pay back everyone. So this guy's a brand. Like, I know someone reached out to him because he said categorically he's gonna pay back all the money that was stolen.
True.
Didn't it?
It will be made whole.
So
True.
my brother's got 14 mil coming back his way, bro. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe.
I don't know about 13 million. He might get 10 back, but hey, still, something's better than nothing. But 10, hey, you're right. You're right. Still, so yeah, nah, cool. Hey, this is not so bad. Yeah, he's gonna get the money back. Well,
I hope he knows that,
my man.
Because if he doesn't, if they don't make the appeal, he ain't getting shit.
No, of course he's gonna be appeal. I mean, I think about it, yeah, you lost the money, and it wasn't your fault. It wasn't because you're flaunting your worth of 6. It was the platform's, you know what I mean, insecurity.
Negligent.
Yes. Yeah, so it doesn't
Not paying their people enough.
Yeah, and using too many offshore people. You know, you use some people that are actually on the ground. Use some US
people in the US minimum wage, bro.
Exactly.
People in the US minimum wage.
Exactly. It's not paying you the $2.99. Come on, man.
You're getting $2.99 a fucking day, bro.
That's a joke, bro. I think these cheapskates are the worst, bro. They're just scummy, fam. Scummy people, man. Stop being G.
Pay your taxi, bro. You man.
But you know what I realized, yeah? When you man were talking, I was like, with every problem, and this is slightly deviant a little bit, but it was just sort of expanding a bit. Just want to, see what you man are saying about this. But with every problem is a potential business, idea, solution. So obviously, everyone, we're all getting older. There's been cases of people, dying or whatever. But there should be some mechanism which is trustless, which enables you to send your money upon your demise or whatever. And I know there's different wallets solutions where forgot the name of it now, but I used to work for a company like
Stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. You can have guardians and all that. But yeah, I think that having a solution where you're gonna die, here's my thing. There's a couple guardians or whatnot, and it's seamless and it's straightforward, and the average layperson can do it. I think if somebody cracks that is like a multi-million-dollar business right there.
It's funny you mentioned that because a solicitor firm in the UK reached out to me to build exactly that. But bitch replied, bruv. Tired of chasing. I didn't mean. Hopefully she doesn't listen to this. I don't mean. I mean, no way.
Yeah, no.
She then client if he hasn't responded to my quotes. So come back to me if you'd like. If you'd like to use the software built, okay?
Yeah, that's actually a good idea, Harris. But Ricardo, she's not serious, man. If she was serious, she would have done it, but she's not serious. But
Not serious.
for that's my point. There's a hackathon coming up, so the idea might get built without her still. So I'm just saying. Anyway, exactly. Time is short. On to the next one, man.
Yeah, on to the next one. Early in my crypto journey, I purchased 4.28 BTC and held it on Bittrex exchange. Yes. Back then, I was naive to 2FA and other measures. I am aware
He was
was naive to 2FA and other measures. I am well aware of today. Using a mobile phone browser, I entered in the Bittrex URL and accessed what I thought to be my account. Unbeknownst to me, I was accessing the URL via a redirected browser where my login details / keystrokes were captured. Long story short, I went back and forth with Bittrex support for 8 days, with them being of zero help until I finally regained access and promptly discovered my balance was cleaned out. What do you make of that?
Bittrex are pagans. Because so you're on customer support, you're doing your job. A man told you on the 15th, that he lost access to his account and he needs help. You see on the 17th, that man's made a transfer out and you didn't question anything. Like, as soon as a man told you, like, I think my account's compromised or I've lost my password,
should have frozen.
You could freeze, bro. Like, I think crypto.com freezes that. If you reset the password, it freezes it. That's what it's common.
Modern exchanges do this. Anything is any suspicious activity, it's getting blocked. Everything frozen.
They freeze your withdrawals. So they just said, oh yeah, okay, this guy just wants his password. Okay, refresh. They go through all the steps and they're like, hey, you go, here's your account. 8 days. And then he goes back in and zero. Like 4.28 BTC now is like basically what, like 420k in dollars. That's a shame. No, sorry, like 450, 480. That's a shame, bro. That's a damn shame. I don't know. You should put some pressure on Bittrex. Actually, Bittrex was in administration, isn't it?
Yep. We're going to come on to that. Bittrex US administration. So I remember because I used to use that account semi-regularly. But I didn't have anything at the time of administration. And I received like a fat stack of letters. And you know when you get serious letters and it's like, you could see, it was from an American address. And it was like, what bills am I late on? And then I opened it and then it was just talking about they went into liquidation, yada, yada, yada. But I had nothing in there. So I was like, I ain't going to waste my time with anything. So yeah, they went into administration, and with practices like that, I'm not too surprised, to be honest.
Listen. If an exchange got Bittrex or anything with Trex in it, you shouldn't trust it anyway, fam, because it just shows lack of maturity, bro. That's number one. Number two, fam, since earlier on in my crypto days, I just never really vibed with Bittrex. Just something about it. Like they were having issues back in 2017 where like people will have like the same issues that you thought comments had when like they didn't have the liquidity, they didn't have the tokens. They'll have that issue back in 2017. So I'm not surprised they went into administration. Like that's nothing new. My main problem is with this Dunnies. You were naive to 2FA, bro. Come on. Like if you truly believed in like Bitcoin and the crypto stuff and everything, why would you be naive to VTC? Like why would you be naive to 2FAs? Like it's standard. It's literally, bro. Now,
bro, Deji, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, man.
And I hear you, but bro, even X, all these social media platforms have 2FAs, bro. Bro, even my Zero account, my accounting has 2FA. Bro, what's this stupid on there, bro? Like, thing. And then you talk about actual physical, real value, like assets on your portfolio, and you don't want to protect it. And then the worst part, you're accessing it from your mobile phone. No web browser. I mean, it's hard to swear for the Dunny fam. Like it's so perverted. Like it just is. But I hope he doesn't seem like he's got it. He seems like he might have bounced back, but You just thinking back in retrospect what happened to his stack of Bitcoin. Hopefully you can make it back, but my God. What an L that next. Unnecessary L. It's unnecessary L. That's the worst part. Like, I mean, one done to go associated hack. This done is just said, nah, 2FA. I don't need 2FA. And the funny thing is, yeah, I know Dan has done the same thing about it like this as well. But the funny part of that story is his friends actually hacked him. So he got drained by his own friends. So, like, don't say... Never say that. Never say no to 2FA, guys. Never, ever. It's literally essential. And even after 2FA, it's still not enough. So why say no to it? Yeah, that's what I have to say, man.
Yeah. Sometimes it's a situation whereby you're like, it's not that important, or I don't really need to do it. Like, maybe it's more of an exchange thing where they should put more pressure on people to set that up. I know that I think Binance are pretty hot on 2FA and stuff like that. I don't know what Coinbase's situation is these days.
Coinbase is
a lot more modern
as well.
Yeah, a lot more modern exchanges because of all these hacks and all that are quite good when it comes to that these days. But yeah, all I can say is better luck next time. I don't really have much more to say on you. But with that being said, welcome back to the Crypto Flip podcast. I am your host, Harris King. And I am joined once again with my co-hosts, Ricardo and Deji. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio platforms, wherever you're listening, because we are available everywhere, including Spotify podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else you like to listen. Don't forget to leave a review because it really helps the show. So, the Fed stands firm on interest rates despite Trump's pressure. But signals two cuts later this year. So basically, they haven't cut rates yet, and Trump isn't too happy about it. What do you guys make of that?
I just feel like Trump's been doing this whole dance for like 2 months, right? The whole reason that he came up with this whole tariff thing, I feel, was to make everyone else feel the crunch in the US and say, okay, no, we need to jump on this rate cut thing. We need to do something. We need some easing. And yeah, he didn't get his way. So now it's sort of like,
it's not working, is it?
Exactly, it's not working. So I feel like now he's going to throw his toys at the pram. And bro, I need to sideline. I think I'm going to go 100% cash. Yeah, actually I am, 100%. I have no idea where the market's going because of this. Not even just because of this, but bro, we've all seen how in the last few months, Trump can sneeze, fart, and do whatever, bro, and the market just shits itself or wakes up on some mad thing. So I reckon I'm gonna sideline, bro. I might have to jump out of everything. And everyone out there, do your own research, but just trust me. This guy, when he doesn't get his own way, he causes a fuck out, like as we have seen. So take that advice as you need that advice, not financial advice.
Oh my goodness! I mean, you covered a lot of excellent points there, Rick. I mean, like, I'm just bringing up the quotes from yesterday, and what Powell was saying is the reason why he doesn't feel comfortable cutting rates here is, one, he feels like the tariff is doing more harm than good. Like, there is a tariff inflation that's basically creeping up on the market, on the economy, and he doesn't feel like now's the best time to cut rates. And even though a lot of deals been made, like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that China deal. I don't know who got suckered. I know the US owes China a lot of money, and they were happy paying them more tariffs because they owe them a lot of money, and then they'll get 10% back. Like, I don't know how that's a good deal. You know what I mean? And then the EU one is around the corner. Still, they haven't got a fair deal. The UK one is done. Anyway, bro, point I'm trying to make it is, yeah, we're getting all of this tariff-related news. Some are already like been inked and signed. Some are still in the works. Maybe once, let's say by end of Q2, all the tariffs deals are signed amongst all countries with a lot of countries with US. Maybe then we'll have a clearer picture of what the impact of the tariffs is. But I think right now, Powell's not cutting. He's made it clear. Even if he wants to fire him, he can't. Like, think about it. I used to assume the president has a lot of power. He has a lot of power, but there's certain things you can't do. You can't just cut someone. Like, you can't just say you're fired. Like, this is not apprentice, man. Like, you know what I mean? You have the power, but you have to go through like the correct steps of the correct steps to basically remove someone from office. So personally, for me, I've known this is not gonna happen. Like, I remember, I think a couple of weeks ago, they were like, "Oh, the odds of the CME odds of 100% rate cut is 99%." I'm like, yeah, but power could just, you know what I mean, do the U-turn and just not cut rate. And I know for a fact Trump is dying for a rate cut. And further to Ricardo's point, he's the one that pushed this. And the thing is, I'll put it back a little bit as well, yeah? One thing I know for a fact is every government that comes into the office, they never want to cut rate. They never want to cut spending. They don't want to pull funding, because if you pull funding, there's a high chance of a recession happening. So he's doing it the roundabout way of like, cool, I'm gonna make it feel like a credit crunch, make everyone feel the crunch, make everyone feel the pain. Maybe that way we won't get a recession, but we get a step cousin of a recession where like everyone will feel the crunch, and that will force the Fed to cut rate. But they just don't feel like, because they don't feel comfortable. There was over the quote yesterday about how he feels like inflation is starting to creep up a little bit. I was like, oh, that's not good. But not on a massive, no, but I think it was like increase by 0.1%, but still, increase is an increase. So, and he's saying how like it will take time for a large effect to re-show, but for now, he doesn't feel it will happen, but likely it will happen in probably Q3. So, I've always said this, it's clear as day. If BTC was going to do a mad thing, it would have done it by now, fam. It would have done it back now. Like, we went up to 111, we stalled heavily, came back down to the lower liquidity. Now we're back up to what? 106, 107, 108. I think that was...
Wait, 1 second. 1 second, Deji. Are you trying to say that we've peaked?
No, I think we've reached the local top. I've been saying this, like literally, that's one of the reasons why I'm still in stables. Like, I've never had them left stables. I've really been taking merit trades here and there. So I think we've reached a local top. Bro, it's clear as day. I could be wrong. It's a probability game. But if you're telling me to pull, what's the probability that we're gonna reach all-time high in the next 14 days? I would say it's less than 10%. Because, bro, all the news are there. Coinbase applying for blockchain stock and platform, like institutional buying, tariffs deals are being made right, left, and center. But BTC just keeps stalling. They just keep stalling. So if it's gonna make a move, it should have made some move now. The price action should be clear, but it's just not clear. You know what I mean? So, and with the Fed's projection moving towards a slower growth, higher inflation, there's where's the catalyst now for us to do all-time high? I just don't see it. I'm not saying we're gonna crash back down to 20K. I'm not saying that. But at the same time, if we're gonna make that move that everyone is expecting, because all I say my timeline is F you higher, F you higher, F you higher. No, F you even higher. I was like, okay, cool. But I'm not seeing the proof that we're gonna go higher. So that's kind of like my opinion right now. So I'm curious to see what you guys have to say about this.
I mean, I already said, but I just reckon, yeah. A couple weeks ago, I said this whole, I don't have enough time to be on the market every day. But my general premise with the market right now is if we don't top out by the middle of the month, like we don't see some new high for Bitcoin, then I can't see strength in alts. And thus, I would sideline. I said the 16th, I'm 3 days late and I ain't taking my money out yet. But, bro, I'm saying this now, bro. The market is going to turn down. And if it doesn't, and I'm wrong, cool. And listen, I get to keep everything I have right now versus being down 10, 15%. So, yeah, I'm out, man. I'm out. I'm selling up. I'm going 100% cash. Because right now, I just have no faith in any strength or any trend in the market. So I'm out, bro.
Bro, altcoins are weaker, bro. Like, until we get a rate cut, we're not going to see any strength in altcoins. And I know a lot of influencers are telling their people, selling signals to them, saying, no, altcoins is here. I'm not saying it's time for you to turn bearish on altcoins. It's not time to turn bearish on altcoins, but you need to move cautiously. That's the most important thing to notice here. Because you're not buying and aping in. You're thinking, oh, we can't go lower.
Yeah, it's all mad. I think with the state of what's going on with the Fed, I would have expected maybe a small 0.25. I mean, in Europe is given, some rate cuts. Australia's giving rate cuts. Everyone's giving rate cuts except for the Fed in the US. So, yeah, I would have expected a little something. I'm not saying no 0.5 or whatever, any big thing. Just a little crump, but there's nothing. It'll obviously come, but the fact that it hasn't come yet is obviously not good for risk on assets, especially crypto and Bitcoin in this particular case that we're talking about. So, yeah, I mean, in the short term, that's bearish. So I agree with what you guys are saying in terms of not being long on BTC or even definitely not altcoins, because without that rate cut, it's going to be a very difficult environment for Bitcoin to gather that momentum to sort of push up further. So there, I mean, that sort of, and there's more news that we'll dive into, which will also make it even more hard. But yeah, I think with that, if we're just looking at the macro stuff in general, I think that pushes us to perhaps a more bullish end of Q3, end of Q4.
What have I been saying? Or what have I been saying from the beginning of this year?
I hear it.
It's a rad translated market. Everyone's saying, I think what the problem is, people expected rate cuts earlier, but when man like Trump introduced tariffs, that's not good for the market. It's just not good for the market. So how can you think tariff wars, and I'm not even talking about the geopolitical instability in the Middle East, that's secondary news because we know that's going to get resolved, but it might escalate before it gets de-escalated again. But point to make is how can you assume tariffs are good news? And they think, once we have tariff deals and people agree, listen, even the president of China said there is no winner in this tariff war. It's a lose-lose situation. You're basically paying more than you ever paid before for goods exchange. Like, it's just not a good thing.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. And what else isn't a good thing is war, especially war in the Middle East. We had Israel attacking Iran in a so-called preemptive strike, and Iran retaliating, no holds bars. And Iran called on Israelis to evacuate Tel Aviv and Haifa immediately. And there was a mass evacuation of Tehran in Iran after Trump's Truth Social post, which basically summarized, was saying that, Israel should chill out and Israel can't have nuclear weapons, etc., etc. But so far, the conflict is between Iran and Israel. If it escalates, which it could very easily do, then obviously the US can get involved, the UK can get involved, France can get involved, and they'll all most likely support Israel. And on the other side, you can have North Korea, who've voiced support for Iran. You have China, and you have Russia on the other side, as well as obviously Iran. So this could escalate pretty significantly if, cooler heads don't prevail. But this isn't anything new. Bibi Netanyahu has wanted to destroy and invade and bomb Iran since the 1990s. Just look at the tapes. CNN recently put out a video where over time you see him repeating the same talking points of Iran is close to having nuclear weapons, yada, 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 we have to intervene. Saying the same thing up until today, where he's obviously gone forth and attacked. Because I suppose one of the things they want to do is, obviously, they preemptively attack, Iran strikes back, and then they'll either do maybe a false flag attack on the US air base or something like that, or, Iran attacks too much, and then that allows Israel to play victim, and then obviously the US will get involved either way. But with all of that, because we are still a crypto podcast at the end of the day, why is that not a good news for crypto? I'd like to hear your point of view.
But the reason why war is bad for crypto, so I was under the impression before that war was a good thing for crypto. And obviously I don't condone the violence. It's crazy what's going on in the world. The reason why I used to think war was a good thing for crypto was I thought, so all these places that all these people that have money in different markets around the world, when there's geopolitical tensions, you have no idea how like a individual asset in a specific market is going to do. Like, you don't know if the Israel-Iran fight will like destroy, I don't know, something in China, for instance, in the Chinese market, or if various companies that are in the New York Stock Exchange will undergo turbulence because of the war. Because you don't know, like spending might change, policies might change, blah, blah, blah. So I used to think, okay, so people will look at that and be like, more uncertainty here, let me go into crypto. And historically, like, I think when the Ukraine-Russian war kicked off, because that is a war, bro, crypto went up because of it. And I realize now crypto went up because of it, because the Russians were using crypto to facilitate payments to different countries across the world without having a trail, even though there is a trail. It's just not a paper trail, so I guess they care less about it. So yeah, and now it looks like, based on what I'm seeing around, is everybody's taking their money out of the crypto market because they're like, actually, the crypto market is now super tied to geopolitical issues and they have no idea whether it's going to trigger up or down, so they're just jumping out. And that's why we saw that little dip. And also, I guess anything that Trump says or Trump does, bro, people get a little bit fearful. So if Trump is bearish, people take money out. If Trump is bullish, people put money in. And yeah, he was pretty bearish around the whole like war happening and how it could affect the rest of the world. So yeah, I see that's why money left the market, and yeah, that's probably why we didn't get our top. That's probably why we see various alts bleeding now. But yeah, I don't think it's the end, but I just think this is what we're dealing with now. So it is what it is.
Bro, it's definitely not the end. I mean, we've seen this before. It's nothing new. We've had more recently another tension, but like this one is more recent, so we're paying attention to this one. But I mean, you guys saw obviously after that Israel launched their operation against Iran's like nuclear facilities and stuff like that. Basically, a hack by a pro-Israel group called Predatory Sparrow. They hacked the Iran crypto exchange called Nobitex, and they burned over 90 million crypto. Like, that was a statement they claimed it when I did it. So I thought that was interesting. But overall, I think what we've seen so far is short-term volatility. I mean, we dipped below 103, but quickly we went back up to 106 predominantly because institutions refuse to sell. They keep buying. But eventually, their dollars going to run out. I mean, not necessarily going to run out long-term, but in terms of their purchasing power or the purchasing, the purchasing consistency will definitely taper off. And I'm of the mindset we'll still see Bitcoin on 100K very, very soon, because it's only a matter of time. Because I read somewhere, obviously this is all rumors, isn't it? Like, Trump has given permission for US to get involved, but he hasn't given a green light for it. If he gives that green light, I can see the tension even escalate even more. And even though it hasn't had a massive impact on crypto, it could have an effect on it more, in terms of, we know that there's a massive fair value gap beneath that. There's no support until we get down to that mid 90K range. So I'm interested to see, people keep saying, oh, well, we're not going to get a Black Swan event. This is pretty close to a Black Swan event. I'm not trying to say it's quote unquote Black Swan event, but like, you can't necessarily dismiss, oh, we're not going to get a Black Swan event. This could potentially be one. You know what I mean? If this war, I'm not going to say the whole world will go into a war, but if these two escalate and keep firing missiles back and forth to each other, that's not good for the market. And then I know people can say, oh yeah, big Bitcoin is a store of value, you can use that as a hedge against inflation, deflationary. Yeah, all that stuff is good. But BTC also lacks a good market. Lacks a market that's got liquidity, there's constant buying pressure, and there is not necessarily have to be all jolly good news, but at the same time, there needs to be consistent buying pressure. And for that to happen, there needs to be there can't be a war, fam. You know what I mean? So if US government is not spending more infrastructure and more money towards helping, get involved in this war, that's not good for the market. So further to Ricardo's point, like, I mean, if you haven't, this is not financial advice, like, if you haven't got it now because you're waiting for all-time highs to sell or whatever, man, good luck to you, man. Good luck to you, because the decision is there. Like, you can't keep telling me you don't see what could potentially go wrong. There's crumbs everywhere. It's just simple as day.
Yeah, I think it's. I remember hearing a quote once saying that, and this wasn't in relation to Bitcoin and crypto, but you can easily apply it. But the markets do not like uncertainty. That's why, in the run up to an election, things are very choppy and all that, because people want to know that things are stable and whatnot so that, they can invest long term. But when there's instability and people are uncertain about what the future holds, then it becomes very difficult for, especially risk on assets such as crypto and Bitcoin, to explode in those types of environments. I remember, because this isn't the only type of instability we've had as a result of war. So I think the best thing to do is probably look back and see. Obviously, we had some tensions with Iran before, but that was a bit of a teaser. But this seems like it can do some real damage both ways. But yeah, sidestepping that a little bit, I want to ask you guys both a question. Let's say that this did explode further, and let's say that the UK and the US said, boom, we're getting involved, but we don't have enough soldiers, conscription. We're pulling up men from...
This guy, bro. You see this guy Harris, bro. This guy left the UK, bro, yeah? And he's like, that I had to jump in the army. This guy is a villain, bro. This guy is a villain, bro.
My guy said you got to jump in the army. Bro.
Of course I jumped in the army, bro. Miss me, bro.
If I go, there's a high chance I'm not coming back, bro. What? I'm ever bad.
What is it called? It's called being drafted, yeah?
Yeah, being drafted.
Yeah, I'm good.
Conscription, so.
Conscription. You know, that sounds like it's by force. Like,
it is by force.
Your life away.
Basically, as a subject of Her Royal Majesty's army, citizen, being a citizen of Her Royal Majesty, or His Royal Majesty, we have now decided to select you for conscription.
Nah. Allow that stuff. That's a like, at the end of the day, yeah. I don't think it's gone to that level yet. But we will.
No, it hasn't gone there. I was just.
And if you I want to reiterate, this is not on the level of COVID-19, because when COVID-19 happened, there was real panic in the market. I don't think we're getting anywhere near that, but half of that, yeah, even a fraction of that, oh my goodness. But the factors to contribute to such an event, it's present. You cannot dismiss it anymore. I mean, if you want to, that's fine by you, because you have insider intel. But I mean, I do feel like the reason why I'm not worried so much about this particular thing is because I know Trump will do the right thing, but doesn't mean the right thing will not affect the market in the short term. It will affect it in the short term. We will see crazy volatility, and you see some buy levels being filled. So I imagine you to be ready in it. Let's load out the stacks. Let's go.
Well, you say he's going to do the right thing, and at first I thought, maybe he will. And he was saying the right thing, but Putin said something a while back. He said, every president comes in with their ideas until the men in the dark suits show up and tell them how things go. So before he was like, yeah, we're not getting involved. America first, America first, America first. Now he's like, yo, Iran, you can't have them weapons, you know. If we need to get involved, we're going to get involved. So I'm saying somebody's probably whispering in his ear saying, my guy, remember where you are. Yeah, which is interesting. But I guess we'll see how that unfolds. And on that note, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.